Welcome back to Seattle's Morning News. A terrifying story this past week. A woman who says she was attacked and punched in the face while jogging on the Howe Street stairs in Seattle's North Capitol Hill neighborhood. And she says her interaction with Seattle police after the attack was a very negative one. KIRO Newsradio's Catherine Stone joining us live in studio this morning. Kate, this story is terrifying.
Yeah, Travis, and it particularly hits home for me because I live very close to those stairs, and as do you.
Yeah.
And I run them with my friends very often, and that's the same thing Emily, who asked us not to use her last name, was doing last Friday morning with her friend. She told me they run the stairs every week. She says she was passing her friend on the stairs. She was going down, her friend was going up. Usually they give each other a high five, but this time was different.
She had her pepper spray in her hand, and she kind of slid it into my hand instead of giving me a high five. And that was my first kind of realization of, like, something's happening. Like, she was freaked out by something.
So her friend headed up the stairs, Emily headed down, and that's when she saw a man approach her and start following her.
As soon as I turned and made eye contact, I realized his fist was coming at my face.
Emily tells me he punched her and pulled her to the ground. She fought back as he grabbed at her clothes.
Kicking and yelling, and I just was focused on this pepper spray. So I aimed it at his face, and I managed to, I think, spray him in the face, and I just kept, like, yelling and trying to get him.
So the man ran off. Emily ran towards her friend who had been turned the other way, missed the entire thing. Emily filed a report with Seattle police, but she says it was not a good experience.
That officer was super blunt, and it was just kind of, I gave him all the details, but he was not empathetic at all. And he was like, "What's your address? What's your name? What happened? Be clear about what happened," which is not very fun to respond to when you've just been attacked.
And then SPD sent Emily a text survey asking her about their response to her report. And as we previously reported, this 911 text survey just got rolled out a couple of weeks ago. It's brand new. Seattle police said they hoped it would, quote, increase communication and provide enhanced customer service. That was obviously not Emily's experience, and she told me that's why she filled out the survey.
It's so interesting to hear her perspective and then that reaction. But this is just one person's story, but the situation raises a couple of really interesting points. If you're a victim of an attack here, are you going to be willing to fill out a survey after you experience something, immediately afterwards? And if the experience is not a positive one, well, what does SPD plan to do? Will they use that feedback in any way?
Yeah, that's a great question, and I decided to ask Seattle Police Chief Adrian Diaz about that this week, and this is what he told me.
When you do have a situation where somebody doesn't feel like they've got the best connection, that's where we need to figure out how we learn from those situations and make sure that we're providing a better response.
And this is particularly important when you look at violent crime is at a 15-year high. The 2022 Seattle Crime Report was just released this week. Sexual assault cases were higher last year compared to 2020 and 2021, and those are just the ones that are being reported. So I asked Seattle police what they're doing about that.
In sexual assault cases, we've actually are trying to do a system-wide training for all of our officers on trauma-informed practices.
And in cases like this one, what he thinks the department can learn from those survey results. Is that the purpose of the survey, to find out where those weak points are and work on them?
Yeah, and, we actually get quite a bit of feedback just from a variety of different surveys. We use this as one avenue.
And Travis, in this case, I've been following Seattle Police and the King County Prosecutor's Office very closely, and they say they have not yet named a suspect for this case. They did arrest a man for a sexual assault in Green Lake last week, and the type of attack was very similar, and they are looking into whether that suspect is connected to the Howe Street Stairs attack.
And to be clear, although police have not announced an arrest in this case, they are still making arrests, and the King County Prosecutor is really trying to bring forth charges in cases like this one, and that's happening, and the chief acknowledged that to you.
He did, and I'm certainly not implying that Seattle police are not responding to these threats. I think the importance of this story is that people don't just want to see police be responsive to crimes, but also to victims of crime. They want to know law enforcement is responsive to the needs of the community and that survivors of attacks will be treated with empathy and respect every single time. And as I said, this one hits home for me because I've been in that same position. I have been attacked while out running, and Emily told me this, that she wants to feel safe in her neighborhood. Right now, she does not, and she does not plan to go back to those stairs, at least for now, and I can't say I blame her. Seattle police have not released any survey results yet, but Chief Diaz told me the majority report a positive experience. But obviously, he acknowledges there's more work to do, and I think this situation proves that.
I know Chief Diaz pretty well. I've known him for a long time. I know he really cares about these kinds of things. So it'll be interesting to see when they do have the data and you do a follow-up for us, what sort of policies he puts into place. Because, again, just knowing what he's done in the past, this is something he takes very seriously.
I agree. But I think SPD has also acknowledged that trauma response is one thing that they plan to work on in the coming year and years, especially given what's happened the last few years with the community.
Catherine Stone, really interesting report this morning. Thank you very much for joining us live.
Thank you.